Thank you. Many thanks for joining us on Powerbrief Show. And tonight we discuss the BBI Season 2. We are looking into this process that began long time ago in the year 2018 and we are now in 2020. Debates each and every morning, but the common mwananchi wants to know what is BBI, what is contained in it, and how is it going to be achieved. And our panel, Mr. David Mwangi and also Mr. Edgar Kosgei, are here with us to help the common mwananchi understand what is happening within the environment. My panels will look at what is contained. Majama wanauliza, including even the learned. Unajua mara nyingi watu wanasema ati uko mashinani nini, lakini you even go into offices and find someone ukimuuliza BBI anasema hii ndio nini. Including even some of the politicians, they don't know what is it. So we want to help ourselves and even Kenyans to know what is contained in the BBI, and after looking at it, just pointing them out, something again will come to your side and see whether the two can work together. What is contained in the BBI, beginning by Mr. Kosgei?
There are a lot of areas, around 9 areas which are covered by the BBI. There's what we call the national ethos. There's also the one I mentioned before, shared prosperity.
National ethos, let's leave it at that.
Yes.
Kenyan want to know what a national ethos. Actually, what is it trying to address, Mr. Mwangi?
When we talk about national ethos, we can give an example with America. You know, if you're an American, America comes first. You're first an American. It's like you're first an American before you're a human being. BBI wants to address one thing. It wants to address the pride, the dignity of Kenyans, the patriotism of Kenyans to own their own country. But we have a bit of gaps in that, whereby we can see we lose our culture, our cultures are so eroded. We see that we borrow so much from the West, we don't preserve our own. And that's the main point that BBI wants to address. Yeah.
Chapter 3 comes up with something to do with rights and responsibilities. A Kenyan wants to know what are rights and responsibilities and what is it that they want to address on that. In summary, Mr. Kosgei, that is chapter 3 of the BBI document.
Rights and responsibilities, I don't think it has addressed it that way in terms of rights and responsibilities.
Responsibilities and rights, actually. It's just exchange of words. That's chapter 3. Responsibilities and rights. Now,
responsibilities, is this trying to address the normal kind of work that we usually do? The responsibilities that we sometimes in our government offices, we do not do what is required. Unapata mtu ameingia kwa ofisi na ameacha koti. And yet they are still working. It follows us into
responsibilities and what a Kenyan should know as their rights, right?
Yes.
That is another thing that a Kenyan wants to know. But at the end of looking into these chapters, something will emerge from these show, and we'll see how it will go. Now, chapter 4, Mr. Mwangi talks of ethnic antagonism and competition.
Actually, I think every Kenyan knows BBI is that. Every Kenyan knows BBI is chapter 4, but the issue about ethnicity, the issue about every tribe being brought together so that we can work together, that is only one chapter of it, that is chapter 4. And we are having issues that whereby there are some communities that have larger numbers, they want more representation. Others are feeling like they are left out.
They are left out, they are few, they're not being considered.
Yeah, they're not being considered. And that's the whole point that BBI wants to address. There's one point that came up very clearly in Kakamega. That is maybe the only point that I had out of the other fights. But that is one point that I had, that they don't have any cabinet secretary from there. And they would say that they're the whole western region. That was a good point, according to me. That was a good point because they also need people from their
so
own
at least it
them.
married properly with what BBI is trying to address. Now, chapter 5 talks of divisive elections. But still, citizens of Kenya want to know, like, what is all about divisive elections in this context?
First, they are disbanding the IEBC. They want to do away with it. And then, something funny. If you have a political party, then you will produce a commissioner. Because that commissioner will be your watchdog inside, whether they are stealing from you or not. Another thing about divisive elections, I think most of it is that changing how the electoral process is going to go, and changing the commissioners and stuff. That is the notable issue of having the commissioners come from political parties, you know, and now disbanding the current electoral commission to go home. Yes, that is a notable issue.
Chapter 6, Mr. Mwangi.
Yes.
And by the end of it, as we assured Kenyans, something will come up. Keep it watching at CAC TV, Powerbrief. Inclusivity.
Yes.
Yeah, it talks of inclusivity. That is chapter 6. A Kenyan still asks themselves, what is this inclusivity?
Inclusivity is quite good. If you talk about inclusivity, every Kenyan wants to feel part of the system. Every Kenyan wants to enjoy privileges that other people enjoy. If it's about roads, if it's about other social amenities, every Kenyan in outside Nairobi wants to enjoy the same way the Kenyan in Nairobi is doing. That's why we are having an issue of whereby we shall strengthen the county governments. I think they'll be given that 5% or something, so that all the social amenities that are here in each and every county can be equally done.
Equally done
Yeah,
and distributed.
Distributed
Yes.
in the other counties. I hope it will work, because my issue maybe when it comes to inclusivity is implementation. Because you may have so much written, even right now we have enough written, but do we implement it? That is my whole point. Yeah.
And we come to chapter 9 about devolution, Mr. Edgar.
Devolution is what now they addressed in this BBI. Because, one, they want to bring the regional governments. But if you look at it very well, they put it in brackets, voluntarily forming regional governments.
And the ones we're having of the NOREB, ALREB, and all those. So those are voluntary.
Whatever. Now they want Rift Valley, Coast. They are bringing back the provinces, but in terms of counties coming together. And then again, in the devolution, they are saying that they are increasing the money that is going to the counties from 15% to 35%. But when it gets to counties, they are also going to dictate it. That they are going to share the 35% that has gone to the counties into 70% and 30%. 70 going to development. 30% going to recurrent expenditure like salaries. So they have dictated the money going down. And they have also said, oh, they are going to open the business centers for the youth and stuff in the counties and all those other things. But what is notable is the regional and dictating the money and dictating also the money that is going to development. And they have also said this, 70% will be shared amongst all the wards. And the person who will manage the money going to all the wards is the MCA. And the MCA will have a board which is appointed from the village level. That's awesome for me. It's a plus.
Yeah. As we go to the last chapter, Mr. Mwangi talks about safety and security measures.
Yes.
So a Kenyan wants to know safety and security measures against who? Against what? Safety and security measures against locusts? Against what? They want to know actually. Or what threat is are Kenyans facing? Safety and security measures.
Kenyans, let me talk about the threats Kenyans are facing. Kenyans are facing too much threats, but the threat that Kenyans are facing, they are facing as a result of something. Right now we are fighting locusts. That is the main threat, I think so. And I think the locusts have come. I don't know whether they are done. I'm just hearing now, I think Ukambani.
They were in Kitui the other day.
Someone was telling me they're coming.
They're coming. They're coming. They'll be in Nairobi soon.
I think someone was telling me they will be in Nairobi, and Nairobi there are no trees to eat. So I don't know what they'll be eating in Nairobi. Whether they'll go to Marikiti Market, I don't know. But the issue is that BBI must address the problems that we have. We have, number one, we have a problem of unemployment. That is one problem that we should not hide from as Kenyans. Our youths are not employed.
Yeah. That's
why they're in crime. That's why insecurity is too much. We're also having an issue of our borders. How do we secure our borders? What really happens? Do our borders secure? Can we be in Kenya and say that we won't be beaten again by missiles and we'll be beaten again by Al-Shabaab? How sure are we? And we'd never know the future. So BBI should be addressing that and making sure that each and every Kenyan, wherever you are, whether you want to work in Garissa, whether you want to work in Moyale, whether you want to work in Wajir, you're safe. Because
Now,
like, as per now, for example, sorry, to cut you, like now I was hearing TSC say that all the teachers have to move from the borders and come. They have to be relocated.
safer.
Not even TSC. I think it's not which was saying, and TSC was insisting that they have to stay
They
there,
have
but
to
there's no
remain there.
security.
Yeah.
And I would say that the child who is in Garissa, the child who is in Moyale, the child who is at the border, they also need equal education with the child who is in Nairobi. So those are some of the challenges that the teachers are facing, and BBI has to.
That's true, and I will not want you to add anything on it, Mr. Edgar. We've gone through this: ethnic antagonism, devolution, inclusivity, rights and responsibilities. We've looked at safety and security measures, all those things. Now, this has brought the country into a catch-22 situation. Not 2022, 22 situation. In that, during the referendum that gave Kenya the new constitution in 2010, Deputy President, the current Deputy President who was formerly the Eldoret North MP, said that we need to fine-tune this constitution, a number of things, but anyway, it was passed. When you look at the things that we've mentioned, what is contained in the BBI, and you go and read this constitution of Kenya, it contains those things. But now, the river is already flowing. What do we advise? Should the BBI process continue, or we go and strengthen the constitution? Mr. Edgar.
I'll quote Raila Odinga. No one can stop the BBI. No one.
Speak as Mr. Edgar Kosgei.
I speak as me because I know who Raila Odinga is. Once that process has been driven by Raila Odinga and the president, once it has been given a directive by the president, in fact, the BBI committee is called a presidential advisory. It is an advisory to the president, advising him how to steer the country. And the president will run the country the way he sees fit. This thing is not going to stop anywhere, whether you have reasons to stop it, whether the lawyers have been saying that we have these things in the constitution, this one and this one. No, it doesn't matter. This is a political process that has to go to the end. And whatever is being proposed is maybe another version of our constitution, but it's still fine. We shall still add clauses into the current constitution.
What is our parting shot, you, our panelists, to Kenyans, to politicians? What should be done to ensure that during, and after this BBI process, Kenyans will remain as one, and that the country, the republic, will still stand? Mr. Mwangi.
My parting shot is very simple. We are having BBI. Let us not have a process that breaks the bridges that we already have as we are creating others. You cannot go creating bridges in front and you're breaking others behind. We don't need all this animosity. If BBI is a process that is going to unite Kenyans, we need all of us to be in it. And I will quote someone, which I won't mention. He said, BBI is not for one individual. Let's all embrace BBI. Let's all read BBI. As the president said, read for yourself. I hope Kenyans will just read for themselves. It's not about Raila, it's not about Uhuru, it's not about Ruto. It's about you as an individual. It's about your future. It's about you as a Kenyan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mwangi. Mr. Kosgei.
Let the game begin. Let the war begin. War of words, that is. Let the ideas flow in.
Words that can burn a house.
Not even to talk, so that we can see who is good, who is not good. Throw yourself into the ring. Yeah, we are watching as Kenyans.
How about to the beloved citizens, whom the Constitution, Chapter 1, talks of their sovereignty, that the powers lies with the people? What is your heart? What are you telling them regarding this process? The floor is yours.
I sympathize with the citizens who don't understand what politics is.
No. Sovereignty lies with the people. Tell them, remind them, or you're also agreeing that sovereignty doesn't lie with them. Tell them that sovereignty.
Yes,
yeah.
Sovereignty is with them. But they will decide when people talk to them, when people convince them. That is when now you realize the sovereignty belongs to them. But they will be put into task to vote and not to vote. And also, when you think that someone is not on your side, please stand up against those people. Stand up against them. This is just politics, pure politics, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for such a powerful insight coming to you on Powerbrief Show. We have looked into the matter that many are giving a blind ear, a deaf ear and a blind eye, assuming that all is well, assuming that each and every individual has had the capability to read what is contained in this crucial document that is a BBI document. Thank you so much for keeping us company, and we encourage your feedback, your contributions, especially on our social media platforms. On Facebook, it is CAC TV Kenya. On Instagram, CAC TV Kenya. On YouTube channel, CAC TV Kenya. And also you can tweet us on CAC TV_Kenya. Till next time, from me, Cornelius Omuse, I wish you a good evening.